Today's topic is going to be fairly interesting. From my side, I've known Michael for a while and Kai recently, and I think it's going to be an amazing conversation with both of you. Your obviously our customer base is very much in the marketing space, marketing agencies, marketing teams, and I got to say that you are probably one of the most advanced marketing firms I've seen, and you have so many best practices that I thought, well, I need to reach out to Michael for us to have a great session and show what are the leading examples doing and how to build the AI first marketing agency of the future. So super excited about having you today. In terms of agenda, I'll just do a quick agenda and then I'll pass it on to you for a quick intro. But basically, we're going to have two parts today. Part one is going to be about how to build this AI first marketing agent of the future, and hearing about some of the best practices and that you guys have achieved. And one cool stat is that 90% of your people are using AI, and I think that's quite impressive when you think about the typical resistance that people face. And the second part, which is I'm also very excited about, is the live demos and showing actual workflows and use cases that you do on a day-to-day. And we have 5 or 6 here that Michael's going to show us today. So super excited, but I'll pass it on to you, Michael. You lead a leading marketing firm, a marketing agency in Germany. I'd love for you to give a quick intro and then pass it on to Kai.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks for the invitation. Happy to be here and to talk about one of the most important topics of our time and one I really love. My name is Michael Frank. I'm one of the owners and CEO of the German agency, The Crew. We're based in southern Germany, in Stuttgart. I don't know if somebody from Stuttgart is here or from Germany. And I'm responsible for the whole AI transformation in our agency. And I think there's one, I don't know if it's a fun fact because it's a real fact, but I think there's one interesting thing about my career. So because I didn't start my career in marketing, I started in the industry as an automation engineer. So at the beginning of the 90s, I was on university studying automation technology, which is very interesting, but totally different industry. And now today, it's very interesting for me to see how IT solutions, how automation and all those things come to the industry that I'm working in now for 30 years, because I switched to marketing in 97. So perhaps that's already a little bit interesting about my background, because I'm an engineer, automation engineer on the one side and experienced marketer on the other side. And that's what I want to talk about today.
Awesome. Yeah. That's why you're so tech savvy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and my name is Kai. I'm with the Crew now for more than 9 years, and I'm in charge of the digital and e-sales team at the Crew. So basically, as a senior consultant, looking after everything when it comes to e-sales, but also everything with automation and AI, obviously, because I would say I'm nerdy techie as well. So I like tools, I like efficiency, I like changing things, making things faster. Yeah, and that's what I've been doing with the Crew ever since after I finished my degrees. So different than Michael, I haven't seen any other big corporations beside all of our customers, of course. So that's a fresh side as well.
Very cool. Long tenure, 9 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very loyal.
Yeah.
Let's go into.
I hope it won't change. We need him.
Yeah. No. Yes. Please don't poach Kai.
I won't.
Let's go into the question I want to ask you the most, which is, you're building the AI first marketing agency of the future. First of all, how are you doing this? And what was the first thing that prompted you to invest in rolling out AI across the organization?
Yeah. So I think it's different things. So I had the chance to visit Silicon Valley several times. The first time in 2015, organized by our German Advertising Association, and had the chance to visit companies like Google, Meta, many of those for several times, and really had deep dives already 10 years ago. And they showed us in 2015, 16, and 17s, what they are working on, and they had many AI use cases that they showed us that will come in some years. So I think we have been a little bit kind of being mentally prepared to what's coming. Well, nevertheless, we have been surprised when at the end of 22, GPT 3.5 was published, and how fast things have changed since then. But I think we've been mentally prepared that there will come something that will change our whole industry, perhaps the whole world, and that is AI. So, and we said very early, if there's the next big major change in our market, in our marketing market, then we want to be ahead of that change or that disruption, because in every change there are threats, but there are also opportunities. And I'm an opportunity thinker. Whenever there's an opportunity, I want to take it privately as in my company. So I think that's very important. So we've been prepared a little bit at least, and it was clear for us, if there's a change in our industry, we will take it as a chance, as opportunities, because there are opportunities in every change, no matter how big they are. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, it was very clear very quickly that we have to change, because that's a disruption that we have. If you don't change, you will lose, and we will be ahead of the market. So these are the things. And perhaps the third thing comes back to my history. I was quite happy that there's something new in our industry that I've learned 30 years ago. So I think it was also quite easy for us to understand that change, to understand the impact, because I had a little bit of that automation background and process thinking background that helped us to see the possibilities. And by the way, that's it. So thinking in opportunities, and that's and I think we also have been very clear very quickly that it's not about tools only, that it's about processes, about organization, and so on. I think we'll talk about that in a minute. And what we did then, we worked without thinking about AI. We worked on our 5-year strategy at the end of 2022 and at the beginning of 2023. And when chat-gpt reached the market, we said, okay, now it's the time for that change in the market, and we directly included that in our long-term strategy. And there was one slide who said we want to be an AI first agency. There was no discussion and no question about that.
Mm-hmm. That's really, I don't know how, like, I really admire what you do, because you might not realize, but you're so much ahead of the curve. And I see sometimes agencies that don't know what even a prompt is, and in my opinion, those agencies will be left behind. But I wanted to ask you to, maybe if you could give us a bit of the question on 90% AI adoption. Like, how did you operationalize it across the team? Like, it's a big task. There's resistance. There's a lot of things that go into it. So how did you achieve this? And I think it would be very cool for the audience to understand, like, this is, by the way, this is not only applicable to marketing, it's finance, ops, sales.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, everyone is trying to implement this, but how was it so successful for you?
Yeah, to be honest, it was easier to implement it in the non-marketing parts of the agency, because for people in finance or in HR, they see it as a big tool that helps them. The people in marketing, especially people who produce content and text, they are afraid of losing their jobs. So it's a totally different psychological situation. So, but that said, we didn't have all the ideas, how we do it today. So things developed. But what we saw very quickly is that it's not done with we book or buy some tools and tell the people just use the tools. That's not it. So we started with training some, let's say, AI champions who had that intrinsic motivation. We started to do workshops with our teams. We started to do workshops with our clients, because our idea always was, if we talk about Gen AI outside the agency with our clients, I don't know, perhaps it's a little bit unfair, but it increases the pressure on the agencies, because if your clients think, we know everything about AI, then they ask us, and then we have to know. So we produced our own pressure by including our clients from the first day. So, but what then developed over the time, and perhaps you can fade in the slide that I'm sharing, is a kind of organization that we said we need organization implementation on different levels. First of all, we said it has to be a top management thing. So I said that's my project. I want to transform the agency for that future. So I'm kind of a CAIO, which is a name that I read more often now. So I'm a driver on the C level. And then we said we need a kind of core team with people who have that intrinsic motivation to drive AI in the agency, who have that deep knowledge, who are steering the transformation, who care about legal frameworks and all those things. So kind of driving part of the organization, ensuring governance, and so on. And then we have three different things on the lower level. First of all, we have some AI champions, people who understand tech, understand the usage of the tools from the different departments. Some are a little bit more focused on, let's say, content production or picture production or film production. So because they all have their domain expertise that they have to combine with AI, and these are the people who have to motivate their teams to support the transformation in their teams. And then we defined use case teams. So let's say we have a project management team, and we defined a team in that project management department that was based on the ideas we had in our core team, and they had the task to identify use cases. So what are the use cases where AI can help us to leverage our services, to get more speed in the processes, to offer our clients a better time to market, and so on. And that's the process we're in. So those teams are still identifying more and more use cases. And then the core team helps to implement those use cases, or to book the tools that we need, or configure the agents, or whatever we have to do to implement the use cases. And in that process, we also identified many tools that we don't need in the whole agency. So let's take, for example, 11 Labs, where we do internationalization of films or audio elements. That's a tool we only need once in the agency or twice. So and for those tools, we have tool experts, people who are really experts in those tools and processes, and they also offer their services with that tools inside the agency. So if somebody for his client or her client needs, let's say, an audio file, speaker audio file, then he knows there's a tool expert in the agency who can do that for me with AI. So that's the basic part of the organization. And then we did some more things over the time that we developed in the last 2.5 years. I think the first thing was very important to develop a kind of narrative. Why do we use AI? Why do we put so much pressure and speed into it? So what's the why? I think that was very important that we had that narrative towards the people. And it's not about setting people off. It's about being able to offer better services to our client, increase time to market for our client. So it was always the narrative to have better services in that high competitive market we're in. Then we try to implement a kind of AI culture. So in every meeting, we ask ourselves our question, what can we do with AI in that process? So that's kind of our DNA now. We did internal trainings. We booked an external offer. It's called Decade Academy. It's a kind of AI training service with online trainings that is offered in Germany. They have now, by the way, an English version too since some weeks. We developed AI guidelines, so to tell the people what they are allowed to do, what not, because in some cases it's not allowed to use AI because of sensitive data or something like that. We integrated it in our HR processes, what is very interesting. So we have a kind of HR culture. We talk to every employee once a month. So we call it monthly and the quarterly and the yearly talk with every employee. And there's a kind of guidance, what questions do we discuss with the employees every month, and we integrated that in every guide. So in our monthly talk, there's an AI question, there's an AI question in the quarterly, and there's an AI question or AI questions in our growth process. We have chat groups internally where people talk about what they did with AI today. And so on. So these are we have really invested much time and thoughts on how we can implement it on an organizational and process level.
And I think what's also good is to first of all start with things people don't like to do, showing them how easy they can solve those tasks with AI, because there are a lot of tasks you don't want to do every day. And I think that's a great way to get the people on AI as well. Yeah.
Kai, how do you typically ensure buy-in with that type of people? It's like you bring a new tool, or now you have to use AI for people that weren't using it before. I was actually discussing this with one of our customers yesterday. How do you go about it?
Well, I usually show them the output, or maybe how I would do it. Or then on the other side, I ask them, well, have you used AI first? So I'm also a little bit in charge when it comes to IT questions. So every time when someone's in trouble, having some issues, most of those issues are basically fixed by asking Gemini or whatever AI, more or less, because those are processes written down somewhere. So usually it's showing the people how easy it is to use and how good the answers are. So that's what I usually do when I have to change how they have to think, or that they are using it.
Very cool. Michael, what you showed was really interesting. I knew you had a team of champions, but I didn't know it was so specific and there were so many different roles. Actually, it's actually very, very impressive, and it goes way deeper than what I thought it was, which is super cool. I want to like switch gears a little bit, like on this topic of building the AI agency of the future. How do agencies have to change their processes? Like, how will this look like in a few years?
Yeah, I might go for that one because I believe, it really isn't enough to just continue like we did. Like what I usually like to say is, I mean, I haven't realized that or experienced that phase, but I usually try to compare it when we had a computer the first time in the office. So it's not about having a new tool, it's about a complete culture and working change. And that is not only for how we work and how we will work in the future, it's also for the processes. So it's all about how to use like the AI tools cleverly. There's also hundreds of AI tools already out there. There will be hundreds and thousands more, I'm pretty sure. So it is always a question, how does the workflow look like? How are processes in agencies currently structured? Do we have to change them? How can we implement them? How can we automate them? And which of those workflows or processes are happening how many times a day, a week, a month, a year? And then that should be the biggest question when it comes to asking yourself on how to change those processes, because I think every time when you can write down a process, you can automate it or do it better with AI. So if you can structure it somehow, if you can take the steps down on what happens where and when, then you are also able to automate it or to solve it with AI. So for example, what we are now increasingly starting on is change our kickoff processes. So how we start with new projects. So we try to take for every project, for every client-based project, 1, 2, 3 hours where we all sit together and work just with AI. So trying to get the base ready for the project. So is it the briefing? Is it the project information, or what we've got from our customers? structuring it, getting into a clear shape, maybe already getting some first rough ideas, and that's happening with everyone in a room. So everyone can also bring in new ideas, other ideas, and then of course with support of AI. So that's, I think, what agencies have to, or not only agencies, like really, I think it's happening in every branch and office in the near future. So yeah, thinking in processes differently and thinking on, like I used to say, every time I start doing something, the first thing that I'm thinking about is where and what can I use AI for.
Very cool.
Perhaps one more thought. Sorry, Andre, on that process question. I even think that AI forces many agencies to think about their processes the first time, because agencies are not really process-driven companies, and you really can implement AI only very good and with a lot of ROI if you think about your processes. And I think most of the agencies do it the first time, really do it the first. But without you doing it, you won't have success with it.
It's very interesting. Michael, I want to bring up something you mentioned to me that I find it actually made me think, and as I think about our own plans moving forward, it actually made me think for a few minutes on the topic, which is you hear this create more content, more output with AI, more briefings, more campaigns, more everything. But you told me, in your opinion, that's not what your clients want to see. That's not what you want to see. You're using AI to go deeper on quality. And that really stuck with me, and I think it would resonate with a lot of people. And can you tell us what that means for you?
So there are many dimensions of what AI changes and where it helps. And yes, productivity is for sure one of them. Producing more content or producing the same amount of content with less people, yes, for sure. But I think it's very short-sighted only to talk about those things. Take those deep research possibilities we have. When we start campaigns I'm sure 80% of the campaigns that are produced in the markets don't start with real insights of the markets or market researches, because there's no budget for that. And now we have deep research or research on studies and so on in minutes that we can work on, and that allows us to make better decisions. If we have good data and good personas, for example, we can increase the quality of our content specified for each target groups much easier than we could do it before. So there are so many possibilities. And at the end, when you do marketing, it's about impact. The core idea of marketing is to increase the success of a business. And I think that's the most important thing. We have a very powerful tool that helps us to increase the impact on marketing activities. And yes, speed is one thing. So time to market is a very crucial thing. But it's not only about you needing less time for the same task. So I think that would be short-sighted to only talk about that. And if it only do talk about that, then it's at the end, it's only talking with procurement departments about paying less money for the same services. So, but I think that's not that's only part of the question or the answer. Yeah.
Very cool.
Maybe to add something on that as well, just to coming back to Team-GPT, obviously, as well, because at the beginning, I think that was our biggest challenge on how to give people a platform where they can actually use it easily and intrinsic, or I would say just easy to use, easy to understand, because it will always be a hustle to try to use something where you don't know what to do, starting on a blank page. I mean, it used to be good with Google, for example, and it will be good in the future, probably. I'm not sure. We'll see. But to have all those tools up and running and ready, like with Team-GPT, I think that's crucial as well to get it done more faster, get done more in less time, and really like to use AI because it's easy to use and easy to understand.
I agree. Guys, I think this is a great segue for us to go into part two, where we're going to go through, actually, instead of we're just going to show how things work at the crew and how you guys do things, and showcase some live marketing use cases. shall we go for it?
Happy to do that. Give me a second. So now you can share the screen. So before I start with the use cases, perhaps one remark to that. So when people talk about implementing AI in companies, the first question is always, how do we learn and train prompting? And I think, yeah, that's very important. People have to know how AI systems, large language models work, and they have to have a basic knowledge how to prompt. But at the end, to be honest, good prompts, it's not an easy thing. So if you really want to have good results, you really have to dive deep into prompting and how to giving systems the right context. And you asked how we manage that we have such a high usage rate of 90% of people using AI. And I think one reason is that we more and more try to build a kind of non-prompting, zero prompting strategy, because the best prompt is the one that you don't have to write. So, and many use cases we have in the agency or also for our clients are recurring use cases that are the same processes over and over again. These are processes that only need input and perhaps a very easy prompt, and then they work. And that's what I want to show you today. I don't want to show you use cases how to prompt, but I want to show you use cases directly in Team-GPT that don't need any prompts, because I think that's very important. Because the easier you make it for the people, the more they will use it. And here's some just demo examples that I put in that demo workspace. And the first thing is a very, very easy, I call it a briefing bot. So we in the agency have a specific briefing structure. So if we get information from our clients, we have a specific structure how we want to build our briefings, external and internal briefings. And what we did is we built a bot, or in Team-GPT, it's called a project, where that structure is part of the project knowledge. The only thing that you have to do now as, let's say, a project manager is to upload the information that you've got from your client or from the market. It could be a briefing from your client, could be market studies or whatever. And I prepared some demo documents. I just upload them. So we have a campaign briefing, we have a competitive landscape, we have a street report, and so on, tone of voice. So all the documents you probably get if you do a briefing. And the only thing that I have to do, because that bot is able to do different things, and one thing is to make a briefing out of that, I just have to put in a 1, because 1 is the prompt for putting all those information together. And as I start it, and then it brings all those informations of the documents in the structure I want it to have. So that's it.
Michael,
there's no need to prompt. Yeah,
this is super cool. I think would be cool to showcase where you did this setup for people to see on the project knowledge.
Absolutely. So here on the right side, in that side panel, we have the project knowledge, which is a kind of the configuration of the project and how it should react. And the only thing that we have here is that we have a basic project info that says how that bot should react. You are a good and experienced marketing consultant, able to analyze input. That's what you should do. If you get a 1, create a briefing, and then there's the whole structure of the briefing. So that's kind of, let's say, task description of that project. So, and what we do more and more is that we really produce those single task a project that is highly specified on one task, and that makes it very easy to use. You know what I mean? Because that project is only able to do projects. It's able to do another thing. So if I ask that project, I just type in 2. 2 is help me prepare a briefing. It asks me some questions, hopefully in a minute. And then it helps me to prepare a briefing meeting that I have with the client. So, and it asks me some questions. What type of project is it? How long is the meeting with the client? Who participates? And then I answer that questions. And then it gives me a guide for the whole meeting with our client. And there's a catalog with questions behind that we have prepared. And then it helps people prepare clients. So that's great. A great bot.
And I think maybe to add one thing on that, because that comes back to what I said before. When what we might have thought would be way easier is on getting the people to use it and implement it. And that's what I meant by saying we have to do it as easy as possible for the people to use AI. Otherwise, they might not like it. They think, oh no, just another tool whatsoever. So that's something we've learned during the process. You have to make it as easy as possible.
100%. And here, like, it's so cool. Like, you just set up the project knowledge on the right. You coded 1 and 2, like 1 action this, 2 action that. So for people on the other side to understand, those numbers that are being prompted are there. So
when you receive the input 1, then you do that, and when you receive the input 2, you do another thing. That's everything.
Yeah, so cool.
Here, when you receive input 2 or prepare briefing, then you ask the questions, and that's it. And by the way, I really love that magic function that you integrated or added some weeks ago, because I think we've been quite good already in doing those project information, but they are getting even better with that magic function. So we really make use out of it since it's in there. Really great thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Another example. So research. So we're also using some more tools in Team-GPT, for example, Notebook LM from Google, which is a great tool. But sometimes we do that research and knowledge management also in Team-GPT. So in that case, I've prepared a project with many information about one market. So you see it here in the project knowledge. There's some studies about, in that example, it's an energy drink market. And you can integrate all kinds of stuff here, websites, studies, and so on. And we also have a project information that says that this project is a really good research assistant that only relies on the information in the project knowledge. And if I say research or insights or whatever, let's try it, insights, then it goes through all the documents and pulls out all the insights for a marketing campaign. So we build kind of knowledge hubs in the systems that helps people to do research on clients. Sorry that it's in German now because all the documents are in German. And it delivers back some core insights that the system found in all those documents. And perhaps that now is an inspiring thing for building a new campaign or a new strategy or something like that. So that's very simple research agent that we've built. And then if we go further in the process, I created something that's a little bit more funny stuff. I called it the creative dialogue. And what I can do here is I can upload a briefing. Let's say we have created the briefing before. And I prepared a briefing for a non-existing energy drink. So I only prepared it here. It's not a client of us. And I created a bot that I call Creative Dialogue, and I asked that bot to create a campaign or a strategy. And what is happening now is that it's not one person that is answering me. So in that Creative Dialogue, we have different people working on the question I put in. So I said, you are not one person in the project knowledge, you are several persons. You are a strategist, a project manager, you are a creative director, and so on. And then they start doing a dialogue. So, and the funny thing about that is that that is so inspiring to go through that, because for us, the AI is always not the 100% solution bringer. For us, the AI is a kind of sparring partner, inspirational tool. And that's very inspirational to go through those dialogues that the system creates to get inspiration for our campaign. And then it starts with giving us those strategic routes, discussing those routes. And there are so many great ideas in there. And what's really funny, if I say, let's say, okay, that's not bad what you presented now, but to be honest, that's level 1. We want to win a really big advertising prize with that. Give us new ideas on level 5. And by the way, that's something I always do. I talk with the AI. I nearly don't write anymore. I just talk with the AI because that's so much faster. And what now happens is that they discuss that the first ideas, creative director leans back and says, shit, Micha, that's right. we're playing it safe. We have to get better. So it's really funny what they are doing, and we always love. But the ideas get better if you do that.
How did you set it
directly.
up? What did you write to set it up this way on Project Knowledge?
I just said you are an integrated creative team with diverse perspectives and expertise, not a single person. You always respond through dialogue and so on. So quite easy, to be
Very
honest.
cool.
Yeah. So, and because we try to build so many use cases as possible that are inspiring for our human team. You know what I mean? It's not about having the AI to do the whole job. If you really want to do great marketing campaigns, then you always need the people to, let's say, make gold out of the silver that the AI delivers. So and we want to have inspiring bots that deliver the first mile, that deliver the first ideas, and then we can go on in the teams, and then we still use the AI. But and that's what is makes so faster. So
yeah, and by the way, if you make it more fun and not only work-related stuff, they will also use it more often, and that's what led us to having a 90% rate in usage of AI in the agency.
Yeah.
I love this one because you get the full view from all the different stakeholders in the company without even speaking to them, and then everyone sees it.
So, and then we have many bots, like for example, that Crew website bot. When we write new websites for our own website, let's say I say I want a website about, let's say, the history of Gen AI. Well, but perhaps doesn't make sense for our website, but just as an example. I have added so many context documents there about the tone of voice we are talking, about the structure of our web pages. So the system knows exactly how we write web pages. And then it hopefully starts with, oh, it wants to have some more. No, oh, something doesn't work here. Please write a website. Perhaps my prompt was not good enough. About the history of Gen AI. I hope it's doing it now. No, it doesn't work. I don't know why. Did I make something wrong in preparing?
It says that. Yeah,
it's
go
just
ahead.
because it is configured as a content specialist for the crew.
I don't know. Perhaps I said don't show it to people outside the crew. I don't know. I choose another model. Perhaps that's the thing.
No, it's. I think it might be in the configuration of Project Knowledge because he can't create a website because he's a content specialist, not a.
Okay. Please write the text of a website crew web page about Gen AI. So everything worked when I prepared it. Sorry for that.
Yeah, but by the way, that's a good example for what didn't work as well at the beginning, because a lot of people
so it's always trial and error.
Facing and experiencing exactly that feeling. Oh, it's not doing what I wanted to do, and then they just don't do it anymore. So that was something we had to realize as well, and then again talk to the people, convince them to try it again, do it better, show them what they could change. So that's with the AI experts or AI champions trying to get everyone an idea of who they can go to for which tool, for which issue, for which trouble. And then, of course, Michael, Felix, and myself are the go-to persons at the moment, and Lars for graphic stuff. But then this makes it even better when you try it again and then it works. So
yeah. And what that bot now works also does, it does not only give the text normally. Perhaps I've configured something wrong. Normally, it gives you also all the meta tags, all the structure information of the page. So everything that we need to to create the page in our content management system is there. So I could show it in our internal system, but there's so many confidential things in there. So believe me, it works if you do everything right.
Yeah.
So there's many of those bots that really help us to speed up, but not only when it comes to producing content. There's also, let's say, community management. That's something we did for a client. So let's say you have a very active social media accounts, and you get many messages every day, and you want to have a bot that is able to help you answer those messages very quickly. What we created is a kind of community management bot. The client only has to paste in the messages he got on that day or on that week. And then we have example answers behind that, and then I just send that, and then it gives me answers to all those messages that I then really can use to send in my social media accounts. So it takes the message, gives me 2 ideas how to respond, says which templates it used, and if there's any to do, let's, for example, forward something to the product team and so on. So that's a community management bot that gives you ideas how to answer in your social media account if you have too much to do it by hand. So
what did you add? I'm going to ask the same question. What did you add on project knowledge just for us to see?
Yeah, that was a little bit more complex because we also added the structure of those tables that it gives back. So the first thing is the same, saying you're a persona for the social media team of that product. That's your task. That's the context you have, community management examples, and so on, tonality and all those things. But then we also said in which structure it should bring back the results. So that we have big, let's say, continuity on the output. So the output looks the same every time.
Very cool.
So really, it's about constructing that project knowledge. It's the same. Let's say if you have that tone of voice checker. So something we also prepared for some clients. I'll show it with the crew. Let's say I have any text that the AI produced. And I just copy the text into that chat without any prompt. I'm only copying in a text that somebody produced, and then it gives me kind of scoring about the quality of the text. In that case, it was a bad text. It's not authentic. It's not so activating as it should be. It's not so impactful as it should be. So it's only 22 or 40 points, and it also explains why that text is not as good as it should be, related to our definition of our tone of voice. And it also always gives me an idea what the better version of the text could be. So it's like kind of a text audit. And to answer your question that comes in a minute, it's the same here. So we defined in detail what the project should do, what the task is, what results it should bring up, in which structure it should bring the results up with those status points here in green or red and yellow and so on. So we really thought about the process. That's what we told in the beginning. We really put in for an effort in the process to understand what helps, in that case, the client. And then we produce the project knowledge or the bot that is able to do that on a high quality and always really on the same. So the result looks always the same.
Yeah, this one was super cool.
Yeah, when doing that, maybe always think about how would you explain it to someone just started new at your company who has to do that process. Then you explain it to them, and that's what you basically have to do with AI to get the best outcome.
I know we're running out of time and want to do some Q&A, but I want to show you, if it's okay, Andre, one more of those spots, because I think
easy.
that's very interesting.
I think we have 10 minutes, but we can 5 minutes of Q&A at the end.
Okay, so because I think it's very interesting. So it's always also something we're doing for us as an agency, but also for clients, is sometimes you have communication concepts that are coming again and again with the same measures. So let's say you are a company, a marketing department, or an agency that is doing events from time to time. And then you want to market those events. And you need, let's say, one key visual, you need a headline on that key visual and a copy text. You need 3 Instagram posts to invite people to that event with the caption and so on. And you need, I don't know, a flyer or an email that you send out to clients. And then you need 2 posts after the event. So you have quite a standardized kit of measures that you need to market that event. And we put all that together in one project. And the only thing I have to do now is to copy in all information about the event, when it takes place, description, where it takes place. So just the information about the event. And then through the very good project knowledge with the tonality of the brand and all that, it directly brings back all the content snippets we need for every measure we do. It brings back a pre-event copy or let's say a recap copy or even a shot list for doing a photo shooting. It brings back hashtags, a to-do list, everything. It brings back all the assets that we need. And yes, we still have to work on those results. That's clear. So it's never 100%. But it helps you so much to make those first 50 or 60%, not in every project, but in those things that are highly standardized. And let's say you do 10 or 12 events a year. Take that podcast. If you do a podcast like or a webinar like that one, you know exactly what kind of text modules you need. You need some posts before that. You need first email invitations. You need text for that tool we're using here. You need tools for your website, invitation website. So that's totally standardized. And if something is standardized like that, you can build it here in the project knowledge. Yeah. And
Very
then
cool.
I just read that great question of Atanas, and I just want to answer that directly. Which AI models integrated in Team-GPT are the best ones? So we have many models here in here. We have the Anthropic models, we have Gemini, we have OpenAI, and so on. But the interesting thing is, the better you do the project knowledge, the less you have to care about the model. That's very interesting. That's something we learned in the last month, because the better you do the project knowledge and all those things that I've showed you, the more narrow the results are, which and it doesn't matter which system you use. Yes, we as an agency still know that for that case, perhaps Anthropic is a little bit better, and here's GPT is a little bit better. But the better you are prepared, the less it's interesting which model you choose.
But still, some people, they just don't realize which one they picked, and then you ask them, and then they say, "Oh, no, now I know why."
Yeah.
So you're realizing more or less that it doesn't really matter at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
And then you ask about the transformation, and the thing is, yes, that will change things in the agency, structures of the agency, and there will be other jobs in the agency, and perhaps clients are doing that on their own in the future. So we will lose turnover through AI. I'm sure about that, but we will win it on the other side, because knowing how to produce those agents, knowing how to help clients build up their AI processes is a new service. We already do really much money with helping clients to do all those things, because clients will, perhaps some of them, but most clients, that's not their core business to produce those bots and agents and things. They want to use it, and then there will be service providers like us to produce them. And so yes, we will lose business on the one side, but we will win it on the other side with AI services, helping clients to use those systems and so on. Yeah.
And then also coming back to the first part where I said it, how hard it was for us to enable 70 people to use AI. Imagine being the one guy within the big corporation having to enable, I don't know, 30, 40,000 people. How do you want to do that? Like, it's hard. It's really, I think that was actually one of the hardest things we're still working on. I mean, it's not done yet. And we're doing it for 2 years now, I would say. So yeah, I think that is the biggest challenge and why we are having those opportunities to still make business in that. Yeah.
Awesome. Shall we do some Q&A?
Yeah, we'd love to.
Let's do it. What do we have here? Let me just go through. Sundar asked a question. For research work, how much time it takes normally for creating a perfect prompt?
To be honest, if you're a little bit trained and used to it, 5 minutes. So because what I do is I'm doing many researches within Team-GPT, but also with Google Deep Research and so on. I have a great workflow how I do those prompts, and I don't produce them by myself. So I can give you a little trick, Sundar. What I do is I go to, let's say, Perplexity and set to Perplexity a very easy prompt. I want to do a research on this or that. Give me a first overview about my question and what could be interesting for me. And I do the same thing, let's say, with GPT-03 or something like that. And then I have two kind of pre-researches, short ones. And then I put them together, for example, in O3 Pro, or you can do it with any reasoning model. And I say, hey, model, I have two pre-researches here. And I want to do a deep research. Please develop a really deep prompt that I can use in a deep research system. And that process takes 5 minutes. And I even don't have written the prompt because the AI has done it for me based on those pre-researches. Takes 5 minutes, brings great results. Yeah.
But what we all also realized on that, and I think that's one big thing to always think about and tell the people using AI, people get lazy checking things what are coming out of the AI. So I think that will be a big part in the future as well, getting people to still don't trust the AI and read what came out, so that you don't, because if you start with something wrong, obviously all the rest will be wrong as well. And that happened also a couple of times.
Nice. Cool. Let's go another one. Oh, this is a good question.
I love that one. Thanks for that question. I think it's very important to talk about that. And you will get different answers on them depending on who you ask. So if you ask clients or companies, they will, in most cases, they will see it's about saving money. Yeah. And yeah, to be honest, we have a productivity and efficiency problem in our advertising industry. We have to prove more and more that it's worth spending money on marketing. So yes, money is a thing. But as I said before, I think there are many more of that. It's quality, it's service quality, it's time to market. I think if you do a campaign in a classical way, let's say an international campaign, when you start with a briefing and then you do the strategy and research and creation and all of those things, and then you have the campaign, and then you have to translate it in, let's say, 20 languages for other markets. That takes 6 to 8 months until you are in the market. And if you can speed that up to 4 months with the help of AI, that's a huge win. Then another KPI for me are process costs. Let's imagine we have one use case. I can talk about the client, but we have one use case where a piece of text is produced several thousand times a year. And you can speed that up with the AI, producing that piece of text. But the big thing is a workflow problem here, because they have too many copy and paste before, as they have to copy and paste the briefing out of a document into the AI system, and then copy and paste the result again in a database or something like that. And if we can reduce those process costs that don't help you anything on the market, it's only organizational process costs. If we can decrease them, that's a big win, So helping to do the people to do more productive stuff that has really impact, not to do organizational stuff, is a big KPI for me. So there are many more examples, but it's not only about saving money. Yeah.
Awesome.
Other indicators of prompt quality on the acceptable amount of formulation. How do you do it? I don't know if I get it right, but the thing is, if we rely on the competence of every person in the crew, that they are able to do really good prompts will be lost. Not because of that people don't get it, but to do really good prompts, you have to train it. And even if 90% of the people in the agency are using AI, not all of them are trained as, let's say, Kai or me or some other people. So, and then, yes, we see really a huge variability on outputs, depending on who does the prompt. So that's why we went for that zero prompt strategy, where we said it does not have to be a question of who works with the AI when it's about the same task. You know what I mean? So if I want, so let's say you have a coffee machine. It should not be about the person pressing the coffee button, how the quality of the coffee is. So no matter which person is pressing the button, the quality of the coffee should be the same. And for me, in my opinion, it's the same with AI bots.
And that's kind of why we actually built this platform, because the collaboration element and being able to share all these prompts and the magic wand you're showing, it's actually a very fast way to create a prompt without knowing how to create a prompt. So
now the question is next question. I love it.
Yeah, I already laughed at it as well.
Thank you for that, Marie. So there's the first client asking about that, and we will have more and more discussions about that. And there are many other agencies I've talked with. They say they have already quite stressful discussions with procurement departments and clients about that. And we will have it too, to be honest. So it's we have an overcrowded market with in Germany 28,000 agencies. There's always an agency doing things cheaper and so on. Yeah, we will have that discussion too. But then you have to really deep dive with your clients into the question, where do we really have that time savings? Because in our business model, we don't have so many things with that high standardization that I showed you here. Yes, we save time, there's no question. But I think the client with the project, they do by themselves, because in most cases, we're doing the individual stuff. The client is doing the recurring stuff. I think they will save much more time than perhaps we do in the agencies. But yes, we will have that discussion, and I think there will be areas where we have a big price fight already, where we will have even a bigger one in the future. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
But what I also think on that one is because the jobs and tasks we will get as an agency, they will be way more complex than the easy parts, because the easy parts will be done internally in the future. But the more complex tasks, where you have to be a tool expert in a certain tool or certain area to do certain things, that will still be not manageable by clients themselves. So this will still be something which will be charged for us, and of course it also takes time for us to do it.
Perhaps that's because we're not running out of time.
Yeah.
I was on a keynote presentation a year ago, and the consultant that did the keynote said clients will always pay for services. The question that you have to answer is how you change your services. So it's all about product market fit. And if there are services that we don't get money anymore for, then we have to develop new services. That's it. It sounds easy, it's difficult, but that's the way. It's product market fit, and product market fit is also a thing for agencies. So.
And this is such a great segue. And you mentioned like you're getting into adoption and helping like these new verticals, testing new things, helping companies adopt AI. So you're already doing it. So yeah. I think this is a great end to the conversation. As I told you before, it always goes super fast. So we just hit 1 hour. Thank you so much for your presence. You guys are rock stars. You're ahead of the curve. You're visionaries.
Thanks a lot.
And also, thank you so much for everyone that was present. We'll share all the recordings tomorrow. Everybody will have access to it. And see you on the next one.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.